We have Carl as the referee. We have Kevin as the U1, and we have Bob as the U2. Good toss, nice toss. Good signal, good job. Don't get ahead, don't get ahead of, there you go, Kevin, good. Stay behind. Good signal there, Kevin, starting the 5 count. Okay, we had, look at the position of where that shot came up, Kevin. That shot was from the C spot, so he should have been the only one that should have been signaling the 3-point attempt there. But he recognized you did it, so he dropped his hand, which is good. Bob, you maybe want to look to rotate there. Okay. Look at that. You maybe when he was dribbling around on that side, you could have been closing down, closing in, and causing a rotation to have two officials, 4 eyes. Okay. Looked like that was a good no call. Guy kind of flopped on the floor. Good call. Okay, just on that situation, you guys take a look at that. Carl made the call, grabbed the ball, tossing it down to Bob. I think we had about 9 players walking down the floor. I don't think I saw Kevin. Definitely was not. I think Kevin was definitely not looking at the players to making sure that in dead ball situation there was any pushing and shoving going on. Make sure we got to have always an official watching dead ball coverage and stuff like that. And Carl, I know you had the ball right where I think that travel call occurred. Again, one of the things as officials is, you know, not to retrieve the basketball. You know, if you do get it, you know, probably just bounce it down. We usually, in our crew, we usually just bounce it down to that area. Players, they're responsible, should pick it up, give it to the official, then for the throw-in down there at the baseline. Good rotation, Kevin. Way to get over there. Recognize the plays over there. Okay. Kevin, again, I think one of the rules of thumbs for mechanic-wise is, again, you got the stoppage of the clock, pointing the ball, the color where it's going, you know, direction, and then pointing to your partners where the ball's going to come in and out of bounds. Look at it. I think you did it. You actually did the call, pointed to where you want the spot, then you point the direction of which way the ball should go. So whistle, direction with color, and then point to where the ball should be coming in. I've been watching your eyes as a crew. I can see that you are focused in your primaries, which is a good thing. You're not stretching out. Good signal, Bob, there. And good mirror by the trail on the 3-point make. Kevin, doing a good job now. I see you coming up behind the players as they're coming up the floor. You're not trying to beat them up. Good mark. Good mark again. Bob, you got great three-point mark, high up in the air. And I said that in your first game. Good mechanics, especially when you're a tall guy. You know, there's another good one. Ooh. Ooh. Good patient whistle, Kevin. I think that was a great call. It was the right call, and I think good patient whistle and saw the whole play. Blew it, made the call. That's exactly what we're looking for. Okay, Bob, I see you signaling here that you get one shot yet, which is good. I think you probably can wait, you know, till Kevin had his hand stopped down from getting subs in and out again. You get a lot of hands up in the air. If I'm over there and I see your hand up, even though you're pointing one finger, it could mean that you still want the ball to be stopped and not to be put into play. So I think keep your hand down once, you know, Kevin's ready, then put your hand up, you know, just communicating with him or your partner, you know, that, yep, we got one shot left, and then your 5 second or your 10-second count for releasing the ball on the free throw, and then your hand up, you know, to be chopping the clock if the ball is missed. I know again on that last play down there, Bob, I know it's a small gym here. In a larger gym, I wouldn't even grab the ball even though it's coming right at me again, because I'm going to do my mechanics, you know, stopping the clock, pointing, color, and then the spot where the ball is, and then I'm going to get the ball picked back up, or the player that knows he's going to be inbounding the ball, or a fan, they're going to get the ball to me. You know, there's a lot of officials, they always think they got to chase after the ball. Don't chase after the ball. Leave it go. It will get back into your hands where you need to have it for a throw-in or whatever situation may be. One thing that I know that we didn't talk about, I was just watching Kevin go down the floor from the trail to the lead position. When you do that, remember, and he did a nice job, his responsibility as if you're the trail and going down to become the lead is just getting down there. You really don't have to watch anything coming up the floor. You have your C and your T responsible for the players coming up the floor. Get down and start officiating those big players coming down, and the players as they come into your primary. Good job there again. You guys will see, you'll see Kevin going down. That's awesome. What he's doing is he's getting down. I'll watch Bob and I'll watch Carl as well if he's doing the same thing. You guys are doing the same thing. Good call. Good call, good point. That's it. Good call. Another one. Okay, there should have been a rotation switch there. Kevin, you made the call. We're in the front court. You're going over reporting by the table. You go over there, and Carl, you come back over and take his spot over here. And we talked about that earlier too. I think with Carl said about the finger pointing. Bob, that was a finger point too. Again, we want to try to work on having the hand, whole hand pointing versus just a finger point. It just looks more professional. You'll see it when you look at your film and stuff, and you see you're pointing with the finger. It's like, you know, you're kind of telling somebody. That time, Bob, I saw you give the indication to your partner with, look like two fingers or whatever. That is, I think, is even better if you even do that versus just the single point. I think it looked much better. I'm just kind of watching mechanics right now, so that was a good chop in by both Carl and Kevin. You know, arms up, balls touched and both of them chopped. There we go again, same thing. Good hustle guys up to get the position. That was a good no call. Contact, yes, was a contact, but it did not affect that guy's dribble to the basket and him going up. That defensive player was not leaning into him or pushing him as he's going up for the shot. He was basically straight up. So many times in so many games, you'll be hearing, you know, the benches and the coach, you know, and one, you know, that's the big terminology. Good get, that's a good call. Traveled before he released that ball, it was out of his hand. It's a good call. Okay, Kevin, watching your hand signal again. You were inside hand. Again, something hard to change if you're used to using right hand. You want to try to get in the process of doing both. Outside hand, again, whatever's closest to the table. Good job. Good switch. Good switch. Good foul call. Player didn't really need okay. All right. Look at that. I didn't get a clear picture, Bob. You made a good call down there. That was a reach or whatever. You went over to report it. But then you did not point where you were going to take the ball out of bounds. Therefore, Carl and Kevin were not sure, you know, if a rotation needed to be switched. And then when you got the ball back, you took it out on the opposite side of where you were standing as the new trail, and therefore caused a rotation on here. And those guys they picked it up because they saw you taking it out. They made that. But again, if you make the call, then you do the point, they already know ahead of time. They got that change made, so when you go over and report, come back, they're already in the right positions. Good, bringing the subs in, nice hand position. Bob over to Kevin, letting him know you had subs coming in. Once the subs were in and out, hand goes down. So that's what we got to have all the time. It's not just putting your hand up and then dropping it. subs coming in and out, your partner over here is inbounding the ball, he's got to know it's okay to do that, and that's what that hand stays up until everybody's legally in and out, and telling him to put the play. I know Carl was just kind of looking up at the clock a little bit, you know, probably getting a good idea of how much time is left in the half here. I know in this situation with the clocks being in weird positions, clock management is not, you know, a real good thing that you could be working on. In a normal game situation, that's the one thing that I probably try to spend the most time. I'm not a very good sometimes clock manager. You want to be. You want to know, you know, as you're coming up as the trail, you know, clock's running, you know, whatever, or, you know, two officials that are off the ball should take a glance up the clock when, you know, ball's chopped in or put in and chopped, clock starts up and stuff like that. Or, you know, when the dead ball situation occurs and the clock stops, and, you know, knowing how much time was on there if you have to put time back on, especially in a late game situation. Good get. Your subs. Carl, your subs. Yep. Remember, that's the one time in the front court when the C brings the subs in, is when the trail has got his back to the table. You know, he's not responsible to hold the ball and have the guy get his position. He's just supposed to be there, and it's the C then. All right, that situation there, you guys make sure you take a look at it, whatever. Bob was the lead. White, there was a scramble. White had control of the ball, and then Bob heard something, you know, from the bench. Sounded like it wasn't the coach that called it. It probably was another player that called it. We got to be sure, you know, that the coach is the one that's calling that timeout or a player on the floor. So you want to probably be a little bit more slowly to call the timeout, and if the jump ball occurs, probably we lean, for our crew, just as an example, to lean more when it's that close, and we're totally not sure, you know, that it's the coach, because some coaches, you know their voices and you hear them. A lot of coaches you might not be familiar with. The jump ball occurs. And also, therefore, the player does have control of the ball and has team control, and we're not calling a timeout with the ball being passed or not controlled or possessed by that player. Okay. There again, Carl, I'm looking at mechanics a little bit. That should have been your left hand up in the air, stopping the clock. No need to, I mean, pointing to the line, I guess it's okay. I mean, I see officials do that, I think, in a close situation. But there was clearly out of bounds. Hand up in the air, below it, and then calling purple. Pointing to the spot then so that Bob knows that he's inbounding the ball in that spot. And the rotation's occurring then where you're going down to become the new lead. Because I think at that spot you were the C, and then Bob had to come over to take the ball out of bounds. But you'll see that on the film. But the other thing I've been watching as far as, you know, guys penetrating and shots going up, all of you guys are doing a nice job on stepping down a little bit to the hoop. You know, we talk about that. It looks good that you're getting closer to the play, but it really comes down to you're getting a much better angle, you know, to where, you know, that play is happening and stuff like that. So. Okay, there we saw a signal there, so we must be 1 minute or below a minute, letting everybody know. Ooh. Look at that one. Look at that one, Bob. Kevin. Take a look. Was that guy legally established when the guy before he left the floor? Or was he coming up to him as the guy is going up in the air? So I think something should have been called on that particular play. If he's legally established before the guy left the floor on the shot, should have been a player control foul. If he wasn't, it should have been a blocking foul. You really want to know anytime a player goes down to the floor, how did they get there? Yeah, Kevin had one there. Kevin had a good call there. So, I mean, there you had like two situations now. When you look at it, you had one that wasn't called, and then you had another one that was called. So. That's what you want to make sure that in your game situation, if you call it, you know, once, you didn't call it and then you call it, you want to make sure we want to call it the same on every play and every foul with players charging or blocking, going down to the floor. Oh, well, that's okay. Dead ball, good job. A little bit more sloppy play than what the last game was, but hey, you guys are still doing a good job managing stuff like that. On that, I just said when you look at it, you guys take a peek at it and stuff like that. I mean,
my question is, so I had him going in, and his primary got lost, right?
Yep.
So does that next defender automatically become secondary, or is he the new primary? You know what I mean? Because I could have taken that if I thought that was the true new primary defender.
In high school, he's a defender. So, you know, in college, because again, we got the arc, this is in college, so if that defender comes up and is legally established before that guy takes up and goes off the floor to take a shot or whatever, that is a player control foul. If you don't think he was there and the guy was off the ground already, then you have a block. So I thought there should have been something called because then Kevin called something right here. So you called something that was similar, you didn't call it, and then Kevin makes the right call. So I just said to make sure you look at it and see what's. I thought
from Mike going in, it looked like a block. It looked like he was already up.
Yep.
How far can I reach on that? As the C on the other side.
That's a hard sell.
That's a hard sell.
I'm like,
But you know what?
that's why I'm like, if you guys were gonna have a no call, I can look at that. But I didn't know how far I could, because it wasn't like I didn't think it was close, or I didn't think it was so obvious that it was a crew saver.
No, I think you let us eat that one.
Yep. That is a perfect example of when you have a pregame. That's what you're talking about. How far out? Your goal is always to get the right call. Make the call, right the call. Especially if there's players going down to the floor. How did they get there? Somehow somebody got pushed, or or maybe by chance they slipped on their feet. But that's where you talk about that. But I think I'm going to our crew. I feel very, it's just that official probably's got to suck it up. He missed the call. And you got to be honest with the coach. That's what we're talking about.
A player from the bench called timeout.
Yes.
We granted it.
Yep.
Which I think we have to do.
Once you grant the timeout, you have to grant it.
Right.
You have to grant it.
Legally, it's got to be a coach.
It's got to be the coach. Yep.
So is there any kind of penalization for them on that?
No.
They
No.
They just get scolded from the coach. And
They get scolded from the coach. Yep.
I'm like, we can't not grant it.
Yep. And that's a hard thing too. Is that as an official, you normally you get to know coaches' voices a lot and stuff, but then you're in a game that you don't.
I'm like, that's not the coach. I didn't want to blow the whistle.
Yeah, you don't and stuff like that.
When you're
But
all the way over there, it's you
you know,
can time out. You're
it's-
calling.
it's like the coach tells the players, you need to not say anything. They need to hear me or whatever. Because if you hear from a player, guess what? Our coach, it's going to be a lot louder than what that player probably did and stuff like that. So, but you got to grant it. It's, coach.
I think we got to keep rotating more because I missed the foul down here. There was that push in the back, and he got stuck, and he luckily got a pass off across the lane.
Yeah.
And I hesitated for a second, and he went for rebound and got bumped.
Good point. Again, your game. Oh, these guys ready to go? Game situation. The way this game is and the way these teams are. That's in last game you didn't have to do as much. This game you probably have to do it more. You make adjustments and stuff. So. Okay, I'm a little bit farther away, opposite end of the court here, on that guy again going to the floor, whatever. So, again, I couldn't really tell from my angle, and I was blocked by a couple other players, how he got there. So, again, you guys look at that to see, did we have the right call with the no call, or was he legally established for a charge, or not, and could have been a block. So. You guys have had 3 now. Toughest call in the game of basketball, block charge calls. By far, the toughest call is block charge. And it's all got to do with defender properly established. Remember, he can move backwards or sideways. He cannot move directly into the dribbler or the shooter. A lot of officials do not make that call correctly. When the contact occurs, they're calling it a block foul, and again, the player was established, and it becomes a charge. Good get, Bob. Watched the whole play, saw what happened. Good. Again, I'm looking at mechanics. I think mechanics have been very well. Just again, sometimes the wrong arm, as far as going up and stopping clock, chopping clock. But for the most part, one thing I'm going to tell you is that when I went to one of my first camps, maybe not the first, but certainly early on in my season is, you know, I thought I had good mechanics, and the clinician told me, you know, as dumb as this may feel or sound to you or whatever, is that go in front of a mirror, you know. I mean, when you go to a game situation and you got sharp, crisp mechanics and stuff like that, it makes you just look impressive on the court. Oh, Bob, that's it. Good job. Okay. Good job, Kevin. Again, this is summer and stuff like that, but I mean, Bob didn't, you know, we didn't have a horn. We don't have horns for subs or whatever. Kevin, you picked up, saw the subs there, and then, you know, passed it off to Bob. Bob recognized it, the subs, and took over, you know, which is the right thing to do. Again, sometimes we don't pick up the subs, or we should, or we're in a communication, you know, with the guy that's supposed to be bringing subs in. If he's not recognizing it, one of the officials needs to blow the whistle, and we got to get those subs in. One thing too, just look at that, Carl, and it goes for the whole crew. Once you call a foul, and after you kind of, you know, let your partners know, you know, communicate 2-shot foul, whatever. Want to have a little bit more of a step out to the reporting area versus just a walkout, stuff like that. I mean, it's going to be a walk, make it a little bit of a faster walk. Just makes it look a little bit better again that you're giving a little bit more watching. That's a good call. That was a good call. Okay. 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 That was a great call, Kevin. But, again, went through legal screen, white illegal screen, number 40, point in over to where you want the ball out of bounds, you know, for Carl so he knows. Then go over and do the report, and then go back to your position where you're supposed to go. But walking over and doing reporting, Carl did not know, you know, where the ball was to go in bounds and stuff until you went over and told him it was supposed to go on the sideline. So that's a good call, Carl. Good player control foul. Way to handle it. Again, high school mechanics. Carl is still the lead. He is not the new trail yet. Therefore, he rotates with Bob, which you guys did. Goes on reports and now goes down the field before and becomes the new lead. So, good mark. A lot of guys, you know, especially if you're working with college guys, you know, and you have that situation occur on that player control foul like that. They'll just want to step out, you know, even though they're still the lead, the old lead. Go. Good. That's good. think you guys are doing exactly what you talked about at halftime. You know, look to maybe rotate a little bit more. I think I see that happening. I think I saw Kevin on that one took a quick, you know, happy step to get going, you know, as the ball was over on that left side of the lane. And as we talked about at halftime too, not the best best basketball you know, going on here in this game. So some things are a little bit sloppy, but you guys are doing a nice job, you know, making the right calls and managing what's actually going on. So. Okay. Saw some communication going on. You know, Kevin had the subs coming in and out, and Carl recognized that one of the players had blood, and I heard some verbal communication over to Kevin to let him know that's player's got to go out of the game because he's got blood. So. You know, one thing we talked about too is, you know, when you're going on your trip up to your game, say Bob, Kevin, you were coming to work Sheboygan Falls. You know, being that's one of the schools that probably you worked in the conference, you would know, you know, what type of game and what kind of team that they are. I know it's summertime now, but that's one thing we talk about is that they're not really a very solid team, and you know, we would know that we have to watch out for the sloppy play and stuff like that. So. All right, good job. I like it. I like the reporting, and we all know where the ball's coming back inbounds as a timeout now. Again, we're summer, but we're getting into the position of, yep, close to position of where we should be, you know, for a 30-second timeout. One thing we want to make sure we're consistent all the time, you know, where our spot is for timeouts, and then going over, getting the teams out and letting them know where the ball is, get them back into play. Okay, Bob, again, I'm just standing right, you're right in front of me here. Had substitutes coming in and out. We talked about this earlier on the game film here. You have your finger up for one shot. Carl was, you know, over there bringing subs in and out with his hand up to you guys. So I would tell you, if you were working with me, if I see that when we do work together, that keep your hand down once the subs are in and I give the point. to Kevin that he's okay to shoot the free throws now or administer the ball, that's when my finger would go up to Kevin to verify we have one shot that we're shooting yet. Get all those hands up. It's like, you know, I see that. I'm thinking again. You might be wanting the time, you know, time to still, you know, not to put the ball in the play. There's something going on that maybe a player don't have the right players on the floor, the correct numbers, or something that maybe over on this side of the court that's got to be taken care of or whatever. So. Wasn't quite sure on that last free throw attempt. I'm kind of thinking through here a little bit that Carl, and it was a two-shot foul. I take a look at where you were standing, you know, as the administrating official on the first shot. Again, high school allows you, or you know, college, you can be standing next to the block there. High school, you're supposed to be past the end line and over a little bit from the free throw line extended going out for all free throw attempts. Not standing next to a player. Watching your eyes again a little bit now the last couple times, you know, since I'm right here and the play's going on. It looks good that, you know, especially I was watching Bob's, you know, as a C, and he was focused on that key area. He wasn't watching that dribbler that was out at the top of the lane. It was Carl that was focused on that, and I was watching Kevin, and he was focusing on the post players. That's good. That is what we need to have all the time. No ball watchers. Good no call there. There we go. I heard it, Carl. Stop clock. Got the color and the point, but the finger point again. So we'll see if you think that maybe you want to, you know, work on that and correct that situation. Good steal. There we go. Good hustle. Good hustle up. Carl and Bob, even though, you know, it was just two purple players going down, hustle up, and focus right away. So saw Kevin, you know, was watching the rest of the players, you know, as the play was going up the floor there, getting the other 7 players that are still down on the backcourt down here. So might want to watch 20. 20 seems like he's starting to use his body a little bit when he's playing defense. You know, might get a little bit more aggressive. So look at that. If you know, think he should have maybe on that situation. Number 20 White, you should have maybe called a foul with him sticking his body out at the purple player. Not that he was totally displacing him, but he was taking him off his path of freedom of movement, you know, to dribble where he wanted to go. Bob. I would look at that call, that situation, Bob, and I mean, I looked at it, and I think it's possibly, you know, that you can see that that maybe was a potential travel call. So. Right, does good call, and then Carl has some discussion with number 10. I'm not quite sure, you know, what was going all on there, but again, if it was something he was complaining about or whatever, it looked like you were telling him that, you know, the way it was and stuff. Might have done it maybe a little bit more discreetly if you didn't think it was severe, but severity again would dictate whether, you know, you're going to give them a technical or not. So I always try to err on the side of being more discreet when I'm communicating with players, especially, you know, when they maybe say something to me. I'll maybe catch them, you know, after I do the reporting and come back, or even a couple plays up the floor. I'll acknowledge that I heard him, you know, and that we'll address it if he's got a concern. I also do the same thing when I'm down in the post area and stuff as a lead, you know, communicating with the players, you know, that the pushing and shoving that's going on. If I think it's getting close, I might not address it immediately, but, you know, when I see the opportunity, I'm coming back down the floor and those two post players are down there with me, I'm going to discreetly say, you know, hey, 41 in this case here, 41 white, and whatever the purple number is, I can't see because his back is, it's number 33. I would say, guys, you're getting a little too much hands and contact on each other, you know, that you need to be aware of that I'm going to start calling the fouls, you know, when there's body contact, pushing, displacement down here in the post play. Again, if you use that terminology that's in the rule book, is huge. Good get, Carl. Good get. Bob's got it and coming up to terminology to coaches and things, you know, freedom of movement and, you know, holding, you know, that type of thing. They can't argue with you because you are telling them what you saw, and you're going right by the rule book. It's right in the rules, and that's, again, okay, that play right there, Bob, was your primary. There was another shot. Okay. Bob, 2 in a row that probably you want to look at, that maybe, you know, could have been called, and otherwise it's going to maybe escalate, you know, play that's going on, you know. Just take a look at them. Take a look at them. I think you might have made some call both times. Remember, I think, you know, talking at halftime, you were talking about, you know, that causing rotations and, you know, maybe because it's getting a little bit more sloppy or whatever and stuff like that. not calling certain fouls will continue to make the game sloppy. And you know, if you're going to let things go, the players are going to think, okay, I can continue to let these things go. Again, you know, you guys are together at this timeout. Some discussion, which nothing wrong with that if you feel that you got to be communicating with each other on certain situations or players or whatever. Best time to do it, you know, to kind of make sure, you know, whatever the time's left here, which is 20 seconds. Making sure you're going to do everything you possibly can in this, 1 point difference here. Be on top of those plays. Knowing we're in the bonus. Knowing who's got last shot. Yeah, you got Ty Gaiman with 15 seconds. Absolutely a great call, Bob. Absolutely great call. I know you don't want to probably make it with this much time left on the clock, but that is the right call. He cannot keep his hand on the player dribbling the basketball. Okay, we were in the bonus. And that should have been one of those things we're communicating with when you guys were standing out there at that timeout. You're in the bonus, and again, did we not know who the shooter was, or you know who we called the foul on? Okay, okay. All right, and coach is having discussion with you, Bob, and that's a good job, Kevin, getting the sub in. Bob's having discussion. You know, coach is probably not liking that call you made, but it was the right call. Maybe he might have been telling you something about the rest of the game or whatever, that, you know, maybe he was seeing that hand check or whatever and stuff, so. What a way to end the game. Guys cherry picking on the basket area and a long pass that comes down and scores the winning bucket. So good job, guys. Again, you'll take the information that I gave to you on the phone, or on the video here, and hopefully, you know, makes sense. If you have any questions or comments on anything, I have access to look at the videos, and can certainly you know, do that. So all right, sounds good, and we'll be I guess on the next game you got is coming up now at 3 o'clock for the championship game. All right, thanks.